Alright, so I'm about to take some of the better parts off the YJ and put them on the LJ now that the LJ is lifted and re-geared. The YJ is down for the count. It needs an engine. It still runs and drives, but it's to the point where I don't trust it anymore. The piston slap is really bad. It leaked, when it blew that fuel line off, it leaked a ton of fuel all over the hot engine. And now that I'm driving around and have a kid in the Jeep with me, I want to just sort that out before I, put it back on the road. But in the meantime, while the YJ is getting an engine, it has a perfectly good set of 35-inch tires and a really nice winch bumper and winch on the front that will fit perfect on the LJ. So this is going to be temporary, but I want to drive a Jeep on 35s, and I can do that right now without spending any more money. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so there it is. I stole the wheels and tires off of the YJ, obviously, and the front bumper and winch. I actually think I like the stock bumper and the other winch on the LJ better, but I don't know, just from a looks perspective, I think it kind of fits better. And I added a steering box skid as well while I was in there. So I think the LJ looks awesome. It definitely looks way better with the bigger wheels and tires. And the gears seem to match up really good. I'm still in the break-in process, the initial 500 miles. So I haven't accelerated really hard or anything yet, but it drives around no problem. Speaking of driving around no problem, I did notice that I was starting to get I've had a vibration for a while, especially since the belly up, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. So finally I was like, I'm just going to start pulling some parts off and see if I can narrow down what it is. The only driveline part on this Jeep that's still stock is the front drive shaft, so I figured I'd start there, thinking that wouldn't be what it was. Pulled the front drive shaft out, drove down the road, and the vibrations are gone. So the pinion angle on the front is good. I think that drive shaft has almost 250,000 miles on it, if it's the original one, which I'm sure it is, because it says Spicer on it. But even though the U-joints were in good shape, something about it's making it vibrate. So I pulled that out. I'm going to order an Adams drive shaft for the front. And the rear drive shaft is the one I got from Rough Country that was super cheap, and I knew I needed one, so I went ahead and bought that. But even though it's been fine, it is at its max length. So I think the max extended length is 26 3/4 inches, and that drive shaft right now is measuring 26 3/4 inches in the rear. So I'll probably go ahead and get a rear drive shaft too, just to be safe, once I do start flexing it out and taking it off-road. I do want to reiterate, this is all temporary. At least these specific parts are temporary. These wheels and tires are absolutely going to end up back on the YJ again once I get its engine situation sorted out. I plan on driving this Jeep all the time on the road and on the highway, and I don't want to drive around with steel beadlocks. So I'll be getting a different set of wheels, probably a different tire, but it'll be the same size tire, and it'll be the same size wheel. It just won't be beadlocks. Same with the front bumper. The bumper will probably end up back on the YJ, and the stock bumper and other winch will probably go back on this one. So the only thing really left to do other than that drive shaft, like I was saying, is steering and my anti-rock, both of which are getting delivered today. So when I swapped this bumper on, I went ahead and took the stock sway bar brackets and everything off because the anti-rock is going to mount in here. So that's going to be ready to go. Got a lot more room to work too with this bumper. And I'll be doing my steering at the same time. I got the Rock Jock Curry, whatever you want to call it, correct link steering. So it still maintains the factory Y setup, and it's a bolt-in, but it's a lot stronger. So I think that'll be perfect for a Jeep that's going to be mainly, more road focused, more daily driver focused, but with the off-road capability of the YJ. So that's it. All the YJ parts are stolen that I was going to steal. So go home and start putting some steering and my anti-rock on next.